Welcome, gents. Sometimes the worst thing they did to you was wake you up. There comes a point where something shifts inside you. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's quiet, like a door locking behind you. And in that moment you realize you're no longer the version of yourself who tolerated everything. You're done people-pleasing, done explaining, done dimming your light just to make others comfortable. That's not you anymore. You're not cold, bitter, or cruel. You're just awake, a little sharper, a little more detached. You've stopped chasing approval and started listening to your instincts. You've realized that your peace is sacred, your energy is expensive, and not everyone deserves access to you. That shift, that's not weakness. That's your Sigma villain origin story, and no, it's not what they think. It's not about turning dark. It's about turning inward. It's about letting go of the old rules they handed you, rules that only ever benefited them. And it's about reclaiming yourself fully, fiercely, and without apology. This video is for the ones who feel that shift, who know they've outgrown their old life but haven't quite stepped into the new one yet. If you're walking through the fire right now, good, keep going. You're not breaking, you're building. And what's coming next? It's not a comeback, it's your arrival. Watch this until it clicks, until it feels like a mirror. Because if this is your Sigma villain era, then it's time to own every second of it. Let's get started, gents. Number one, you no longer fear becoming too much. There was a time you shrunk yourself to fit in. You softened your voice, held back your opinions, and dimmed your energy just to make other people comfortable. You were scared of being too much, too loud, too quiet, too intense, too ambitious, too honest, too real. But somewhere along the way, something in you snapped. Maybe it was the constant second guessing. Maybe it was being told to tone it down one too many times. Or maybe you just got tired of editing who you were to match someone else's comfort level. Now, you don't fear being too much. You own it because you've realized the people who said you were too intense just weren't built to handle depth. The ones who said you were too focused were threatened by discipline they didn't have. And the ones who called you too distant never tried to understand the peace you found in your own space. You're not too much. You're more than what they expected. You've stopped watering yourself down to keep shallow connections alive. You've stopped pretending you're okay with surface-level conversations, fake support, or small dreams. You no longer apologize for wanting more, needing solitude, or dreaming louder than most people are comfortable with. This isn't about arrogance, it's about alignment. You've finally accepted that the fire in you isn't a flaw, it's fuel. And if someone can't handle your energy, your truth, or your drive, that's not your cue to shrink. That's your sign to rise. You're here to build something real, to rewrite your story, to break cycles, to set fire to anything that made you feel small and rebuild from the ashes. So let them say you're too much. You'll be too focused, too disciplined, too everything, until you become exactly what you were always meant to be, unapologetically. Number two, you're more dangerous when you're quiet. You used to be loud when you were hurt. You'd vent, cry, over-explain, maybe even lash out, hoping someone would finally hear you, understand you, fix it. Your emotions would spill out in every direction and people would label you too sensitive or too much. But really, you were just raw, unfiltered and overwhelmed. Not anymore. Now, when something shakes you, you go silent, not because you're weak, but because you're thinking, processing, watching. The quiet you doesn't react, it calculates. And that shift, it's powerful, it's scary, because people don't know what silence means anymore. They're used to your emotional responses, the text paragraphs, the crying phone calls, the let's talk conversations. So when you don't respond like that, when you disappear instead of explain, they get uncomfortable. They start questioning what you're thinking, what you're planning. That's the moment they realize. They lost access to your emotions, and with it, your control. Your silence isn't empty, it's strategic. While they're guessing, you're observing, you're piecing things together. You're deciding whether the situation or the person is even worth your energy anymore. And if it's not, you walk away with no announcement, no dramatic exit, just distance, just space, just you taking your power back without saying a word. Because the loud, you needed validation, the quiet you doesn't. The loud, you wanted understanding. The quiet you knows not everyone deserves your truth. The loud you was reacting from pain. The quiet you is responding with purpose. And the truth is, nothing's more dangerous than someone who's been through hell and learned how to move in silence. Someone who doesn't just speak power, but embodies it. So if you've gone quiet lately, don't second guess it. That's silence, it's growth, it's protection, and it's making more noise than words ever could. They don't know what's coming, and that's exactly how you like it. Number 3, your compassion has edges now. You still care, you still love hard, you still feel deeply. But your compassion, it's got edges now, sharp ones, because you've been burned by the very people you bent over backwards for. You've poured your energy into fixing situations, healing others, giving chance after chance, all in the name of love, loyalty, or potential. But what did it really give you back? Exhaustion, disappointment, a front row seat to your own boundaries being disrespected. So now things are different. You still have a big heart, but it's protected now, guarded by wisdom, experience, and a little bit of healthy detachment. You no longer throw lifelines to people who are committed to sinking. You've realized not everyone wants to be helped. Some just want a place to rest while they continue making the same choices. And you're not that place anymore. You're not a rehab center for broken potential. You're not here to play therapist to someone who refuses to self-reflect. You're not here to fix grown adults who refuse to grow up. That's not love, that's self-destruction, and you've done enough of that. Now, your compassion comes with rules. If someone wants your care, they have to match it. If they want your time, they have to respect it. If they want your loyalty, they better earn it. Because you've learned that empathy without boundaries becomes self-sabotage. And you're not in the business of bleeding for people who wouldn't offer you a Band-Aid. This version of you, still soft, still loving, but not naive. You've learned that real compassion isn't letting people walk all over you, it's knowing when to walk away. You can care about someone deeply and still choose yourself. That doesn't make you cold, that makes you powerful. And from now on, your heart still opens, but only for those who know how to hold it. Number 4, your vision got ruthlessly specific. There was a time when all you wanted was success, whatever that meant. A good job, some recognition, maybe a certain lifestyle. You wanted to make it, just like everyone else. But deep down, you didn't even know what that really looked like. You were chasing a vague picture painted by the world, by people who never even asked what you really wanted. Not anymore. Now, your vision is ruthlessly specific, sharpened by experience, refined by failure, carved out through every lesson, heartbreak, and hard-earned moment of clarity. You don't chase the spotlight anymore. You chase alignment. You're not here for claps, likes, or empty validation. You're building something real for you. Your goals now come with boundaries. Your dreams come with discipline. And your path? It's not up for debate. You're no longer interested in what looks good to others. You're focused on what feels right to your soul. If it doesn't bring peace, purpose, or power, you don't want it. That's the shift. You've stopped saying yes to every opportunity just because it looked shiny. You've stopped listening to people who haven't done what you're trying to do. You've let go of trying to make it look good and started making it feel right. And that kind of clarity, it scares people who still live for approval. You no longer compromise your vision to fit in rooms that weren't built for you. You don't water it down so it's easier for others to understand. You don't need applause, you need results, purpose, freedom. Your goals are louder than your need to be seen now. And if people don't get it, that's fine. It's not for them. It's for the version of you that stayed up late, grinding in silence, the version that sacrificed, struggled, and still showed up. That version deserves everything you're building, on your terms all the way. Number 5, you're not healing to be softer, you're healing to be sharper. You're not healing to be softer, you're healing to be sharper, more aware, more intentional, more dangerous in all the right ways. You've outgrown the idea that healing has to look peaceful and poetic, that it means sitting in circles, forgiving everyone and becoming this gentle version of yourself that never raises their voice, never sets a hard boundary, never walks away. That's not your path. Your healing is raw, gritty, messy. Some days it looks like silence. Other days it looks like walking away without closure, cutting off toxic people, or finally saying enough. You're not healing to be more likable. You're healing to be more effective. You've taken the betrayal, the heartbreak, the losses, and turned them into tools, not chains. You're not sitting around waiting to feel whole before you make moves. You've realized you can be healing and unstoppable at the same time. Your scars, you wear them like armor now. Not because you're trying to prove a point, but because they remind you of what you've survived. They remind you that softness without discernment almost killed your spirit, so now you're careful. Not closed, just strategic. And that version of you, that's the one people don't see coming, the one who's not begging to be understood, the one who sets boundaries without guilt, the one who walks into a room and doesn't need to say a word, but everyone feels the energy shift. This isn't about being cold, it's about being clear. Clear on who you are, clear on what you'll accept, clear on what you're building. So no, your healing doesn't have to be pretty. It has to be real. And real healing sometimes looks like fire, burning down every false identity you used to wear. Let it burn. You're not here to soften into the world's expectations. You're here to cut through them. Number 6, you've outgrown people you love, and it hurts, but you're moving anyway. There's a certain kind of pain that doesn't come from betrayal, disrespect, or conflict. It comes from outgrowing people you still love. And that hits different, because nothing bad happened. No big blow-up, no final straw, just a slow, undeniable shift. You grew. They didn't. And now the connection feels off. It's one of the hardest things to accept, that love alone isn't always enough to keep people aligned. You can care deeply for someone and still realize they're not meant to walk with you into your next chapter. Maybe they were perfect for who you were, but not who you're becoming. Maybe they still think in circles while you've learned to move forward. Maybe your growth makes them uncomfortable. Or maybe they're just stuck in a version of you that no longer exists. Either way, you've outgrown the space, and it hurts. It hurts because you wish they could come with you. You wish they'd evolve with you. You wish the bond didn't have to loosen just so you could keep becoming who you're meant to be. But that's the thing about growth. It costs. And sometimes it costs relationships that once felt like home. But you're moving anyway because staying small just to keep others comfortable, that's not love. That's self-abandonment, and you've done enough of that. You're no longer holding yourself back to keep connections alive. You're not watering down your vision so others won't feel left behind. Some people are chapters, not the whole story. They mattered. They helped shape you. But now it's time to turn the page. So no, you're not cold. You're just clear. And it doesn't make you heartless to keep walking. It makes you honest. Honest about where you're going and brave enough to keep moving even when it aches. Because where you're headed, it demands your full self, not a version edited to make others stay. Number 7, you're learning that morality is often just control in disguise. At some point, you started to notice it, how morality is often less about right and wrong and more about control, about keeping people in line, about shaping your choices to fit someone else's comfort zone. Be nice. Don't question authority. Do what's expected. Sounds harmless, right? Until you realize it's code for stay small, stay quiet, stay obedient. But now, you're waking up. You're learning that some of the rules you were raised on weren't about integrity, they were about submission. And a lot of what society calls morals are really just invisible leashes, designed to make you doubt your instincts, silence your voice, and suppress your power. You're starting to see how morality shifts depending on who holds the power and who benefits from your silence. And that realization, it changes everything. You're no longer interested in being the good version of yourself that plays by someone else's rules. You're building your own code. One rooted in truth, not fear. One built on authenticity, not approval. You don't move to please anymore. You move with purpose. You've learned that being dangerous doesn't mean being reckless. It means being uncaged. It means having a mind of your own in a world that profits off your compliance. It means setting boundaries that make others uncomfortable. It means standing in your truth even when it doesn't look polite. So no, you're not immoral. You're independent. And you're done letting outdated systems guilt you into playing small. You've stopped asking for permission to exist as your full self, and that's exactly what makes you powerful. Because when morality is used as a leash, defiance becomes liberation. And you're not here to be tame. You're here to be true, to be bold, to be dangerous in the most honest, grounded, and unshakable way possible. Number 8, you've discovered the shadow self, and you're not afraid of it anymore. You've met your shadow self, and instead of running from it, you pulled up a chair and sat with it. That version of you people told you to hide. The one that's angry, unfiltered, blunt, unapologetically real. For years, you buried it under politeness, perfectionism, or fear of being too much. But now, you're done pretending. You've realized that shadow isn't your enemy. It's your edge. Your so-called dark side holds the parts of you that got shut down. Your fire, your boundaries, your intuition, your gut reactions. The part of you that says no and means it. The part that protects your energy like a fortress. And the truth is, without that side, you're only half of who you really are. You're not afraid of your intensity anymore. You're not ashamed of your silence, your rage, your deep emotions. You've learned to stop apologizing for the way you process pain. You're not here to be palatable. You're here to be whole. This isn't about being destructive. You're not out to burn bridges just to watch them fall. This is about self-possession, about owning every piece of yourself so fully that no one can use it against you. It's about stepping into your so-called villain era, not because you want revenge, but because you're finally rewriting the script on your terms. People might not get it. They'll say you've changed, that you're colder, different, distant, but really, you're just done shrinking, done hiding, done pretending that being good means being soft and small. Your power doesn't come from being perfect, it comes from being real, from integrating your light and your shadow, from knowing exactly who you are, even the parts that once scared you. You're not broken, you're layered, and now you're whole. And that wholeness, that's what makes you unstoppable. Number 9, you've realized loyalty is often a one-way street. You've realized loyalty isn't always returned. That hit you harder than you expected. You showed up for people consistently, fully, without conditions. You stayed up late listening to their problems. You bent your own boundaries to make them feel seen. You gave second, third, fourth chances because you believed in who they could be. But when the tables turned and you needed someone, silence, excuses, disappearances. Suddenly, the same people who swore they'd be there vanished. You were left standing in the wreckage of that relationship, still holding the rope, still trying to keep it all together, still bailing water out of a sinking ship while they jumped into lifeboats without looking back. That's when it hit you. Loyalty for some people is conditional. It's convenient. It only exists when it benefits them. And that's a painful realization, but also an awakening. Because now you see it clearly. You've stopped offering your loyalty like it's a free sample. You've stopped proving yourself to people who never deserved you in the first place. You've learned to watch what people do, not just what they say. Words are cheap. Consistency isn't. Now, your loyalty is earned, not assumed. You're no longer the one who sticks around just because. You're not afraid to walk away from people who drain you. And the wild part, you don't even need to make a scene. You just stop showing up quietly, intentionally, because the real shift happens when you understand your presence is a privilege, not a given. You bring value, depth, and loyalty, but only to those who reciprocate it. And when you finally learn to protect your loyalty like the rare thing it is, that's when your villain origin story really starts to unfold. Not because you turned cold, but because you got smart. And if you're in that phase right now, don't backtrack. Double down. They didn't deserve that version of you, but you do. Number 10, you're selective with joy because you fought for it. You're not careless with your joy anymore, and that didn't happen overnight. You earned it. You crawled through nights when everything felt heavy, smiled through situations that drained you, and held it together when your world felt like it was quietly falling apart. So now, when you finally feel lightness, peace, or a moment of real happiness, you guard it like a treasure, because you know what it took to get here. There was a time you handed out access to your energy like candy. You let people into your life who only came to take, drain, and distract. You kept trying to be the bigger person, even when it meant constantly shrinking yourself. But that version of you, they're gone. Now, joy isn't just a feeling, it's a decision. It's something you choose every day by drawing clear boundaries, keeping your circle clean, and saying no without guilt. You don't go where the energy feels off. You don't entertain chaos disguised as connection. You don't laugh at things that aren't funny just to fit in. You've stopped performing happiness and started protecting the real thing. And maybe that means you're more private now. Maybe you say less. Maybe you spend more time alone or only with the few people who feel safe. That's not isolation. It's wisdom, because joy isn't loud for you anymore. It's calm. It's quiet. It's sacred. And that's what makes it powerful. You've learned that peace of mind is the real luxury. Not the car, not the clothes, not the followers, Just being able to wake up, breathe, and not dread the day ahead. That's joy, and you protect it with everything you've got. So if someone calls you distant, cold, or too guarded, let them. You're not here to explain your healing. You're here to live it. And when you've fought this hard for your joy, you don't let just anyone near. Number 11, you stopped looking for closure. At some point, you stopped waiting for that final conversation. The apology, the explanation, the moment where everything suddenly makes sense and the pain neatly folds itself into a lesson. You used to chase that. You thought if you could just understand why, you'd be able to move on. You wanted closure, like it was a prize at the end of the heartbreak. But here's what life taught you. Closure is a luxury the betrayed rarely get. People ghost, people lie, people betray you and then rewrite the story to make themselves feel better. And while you're left sitting in the wreckage, waiting for the truth to show up, they're already living like nothing happened. So now, you don't wait anymore. You don't need them to admit what they did. You don't need to hear them say, "You were right." You don't need the conversation that was never going to be honest anyway. Because you've realized closure isn't something they give you. It's something you create for yourself. You make your peace by accepting the apology you never got. You heal by facing the truth, even if it hurts. They knew what they were doing. They just didn't care enough not to. And now, when you walk away, you don't look back. You don't crack the door open just in case they come around. You burn it shut. No more second chances, no more half closure, no more waiting for someone to do right by you. You're not bitter, you're free. Because when you stop searching for closure, you start writing your next chapter instead of rereading the last one. You stop begging for answers from people who gave you silence, and you start giving yourself the peace they never could. Let the door burn. You're not going back. In final word, here's the truth. If you're reading this and seeing yourself in these signs, you're not broken. You're becoming. What you're feeling right now, the discomfort, the anger, the isolation, the shift, it's not a breakdown. It's the rebuild. The moment the old version of you crumbles, not because you failed, but because it simply can't carry the weight of who you're meant to become. You're in your Sigma villain origin story, not because you're turning into something evil, but because you're waking up to your power. You're no longer apologizing for your intensity, your solitude, your standards, or your silence. You're no longer bending to fit spaces that never respected your shape in the first place. This isn't about revenge. It's not about proving them wrong. It's about finally becoming dangerous to the things that once kept you small. It's about embracing the edges they told you to hide, about building your own code, trusting your instincts, and reclaiming your time, energy, and voice. And yes, the process hurts. You will outgrow people. You will walk alone. You will be misunderstood. But guess what? You'll also build clarity, power, peace. You'll stop living for approval and start living with intention. So own it, own the silence, own the scars, own the fire and the calm. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be true. Keep going. You're not lost. You're leveling up. And when the world finally meets the version of you that rises from all this, they'll realize you weren't the villain after all. You were the blueprint. Thank you for watching, gents, and God bless you.